49 of Descent Into the Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilization to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J, and today we're going to be talking about the Bermuda Triangle and several disappearances into that mysterious triangle down near, well, Bermuda. So I'm excited about this one. And it's funny because we talked about this last night and over the last few days, and you said, I'm gonna take a bit of a look, and maybe I'll end up down the rabbit hole. And then when I woke up this morning, you'd sent me a bunch of links, and I'm like, yes, she went down the rabbit hole. And I love it.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. And honestly, and it's not gonna stop here. Like, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It has just opened up more and more doors and more questions. Like, I got nothing answered. Nothing.
Right.
We got a few solid theories,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing concrete. So there's more.
Yes. And well, you let me know something this morning that I did not know, which is that there's more than just the Bermuda Triangle around the world. There's
Apparently
12 other similar places where this sort of stuff happens. So it sounds like there's, another 11 conversations for us to have just about with some of these other places.
Yeah, and that's the rabbit hole that I need to go down, because I'm not sure because you don't hear of these other places, because they say what's it, icosahedron? Icosahedron, that's it. Icosahedron. So that is the layout for all the 12. I'll put a picture up in the YouTube video. I'll put a picture up of what it looks like around the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently each one of these triangles has its own electric field is the word I'm trying to get out of my face, and it's not working.
Yeah.
So it has the potential to have all like this happening all over the place, but you don't hear about anything, because apparently Easter Island's one of them. I'm like, well, what did Easter Island ever do to anybody?
Yeah. And
as far as I'm aware, it's just a bunch of statues with faces, and it's pretty abandoned. That's all I know.
Yeah. Is it the statues? Are they doing it? Are the statues looking at planes and looking at ships and saying, I'm watching you, you're going down?
I don't know. It's there's more.
But it's an interesting topic. Like yes. And there's so much more. Like most of the stuff we actually cover on the podcast here, it's like you look at one thing and then 5 more things pop up.
Yeah.
But most people know Bermuda Triangle or have heard of Bermuda Triangle around the world, right? So it's a good place to start. And you often hear, in pop culture, you hear about this went missing, that went missing, or whatever. But there's more to it. There's a lot of planes and ships and everything that have gone missing, and a couple have actually gone into the Bermuda Triangle, into storms, and made it out the other side. Now I say that, a couple, not very many, but it's very interesting about some of the background here.
Yes, and you said a very key word: went into storms.
Yes.
Because that's the key.
Exactly. Well,
that's the key to unlock the door.
Yes, and I want people to pin this, right? I want people to just pin this for a minute. And that is that one of the thunderstorms over the Bermuda Triangle, and I wasn't aware of this, but one of the storms over the Bermuda Triangle has got enough energy within it to power the entire United States for a year. One thunderstorm. That's insane. Absolutely insane when I heard that. I couldn't believe it. I mean, wow, that is a lot of energy in there. So we'll get into that maybe.
Harnessing that.
Oh, maybe we are.
I think we are.
I think we are as well.
Yeah, and we're just being charged for it. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
People love money,
They do, and it's fine. It's fine to love money. It's fine. Actually, no, but to want it, it's fine. To have it, it's great. But at the cost of what?
Right.
At the cost of what? To the cost of whom? Because it's to the cost of us right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say to you and to me and everybody else.
And if you want to talk about electricity, well, we could go into a whole new thing about Anyway, no, we're not, because we got Bermuda Triangle to talk about.
We do. We nearly got sucked down another rabbit hole. Are we in
Yeah,
Bermuda
I
right
almost
now?
went there. I nearly went there and I stopped myself.
All right. So we are going to go through a list today of some disappearances and some strange events, but a little miniature summary. So reports of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle have been occurring since the 1800s. Over the past 100 years, dozens of sailing vessels and planes have vanished without a trace, adding to the lore of the storied stretch of the Atlantic Ocean and leaving behind a baffled public. That's me. Even today, ships, boats, planes, and people still mysteriously go missing there, as the Bermuda Triangle, this Bermuda Triangle disappearances list attests. So we're going to go through this list. But yeah, even today, so people think, oh, it's back way 100 years ago, 50 years ago. No, it's still happening. Within the last 5 years, this stuff still happens today.
Yeah, it's still a thing. It's still happening. And actually, it was Columbus was the first one who reported seeing things that didn't quite make sense. And clearly he fine. He found land.
He
He's
made
fine.
it. Yeah.
He made it. But it wasn't until I want to say 1952 that someone wrote a story about these articles. Someone started writing articles about how things are just going missing. And then all of a sudden in a fiction magazine, forget what it was called. It started with an A. Anyway, they're the first ones to write an actual article and call it the Bermuda Triangle. And they even pointed out it goes from Bermuda to Puerto Rico to Florida. And they didn't give a reason why that was the triangle. They never gave a reason why they picked that spot. Why pick those locations? They didn't have a reason for it. And the fact it came out in a fiction magazine. So everyone was just, so this magazine was directed at people who liked a good whodunit, a good mystery, not people who loved a good whodunit and mystery, but wanted to figure it out. Because there's those people who just love a great story and they're like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then there's other people who like, wow, that's crazy. I need to know more. I need to get to the bottom of this. And I need, so those are the people it was dedicated to. So it didn't have to go any further. It didn't have to explain itself. It didn't have to go into any reasonings why. But the problem is that it's not fiction. People, places, and things have gone missing within this area. And we found a guy who we think actually quite possibly maybe figured a little bit of it out.
Yes. So a scientist, physicist, very intelligent human being, did a bunch of research on the Bermuda Triangle. And it's funny, you say that it's they picked that triangle and it's like, okay, yeah, you can draw a triangle between those points. But, that doesn't mean that there's a fixed line boundary of that's the Bermuda Triangle. So once you cross that line, oh, you're fine. You're completely safe. You get across that line. But what he was talking about was he had a few theories to add into the mix. So one was the ships. Why do ships go missing? So one of them was rogue waves. And I think we can all pretty much just understand that. It's a big wave that comes along and sinks a ship. The other one was methane bubbles coming up from the ocean floor. So if there's like a crack in the ocean floor and methane bubbles come up by the tens of millions, what that can do is alter the physical makeup of the water, the molecules of the water. And so the water that boats normally float on and ships normally float on has a certain buoyancy to it. But in these areas, if it was big enough, the methane bubbles would create a change in the particles, and therefore the ship could just sink because it's not buoyant enough. So that was another theory, which is also very interesting, and didn't know about that one.
And you know what it had me thinking of when he was talking about the different density of the water? Remember that place we went to that has the different springs, the hot springs?
Yes.
And that one pool was, the water was so
Yes.
heavy. It was
Yes.
such heavy water. And that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, okay, well, that I understand because I have experienced that. I've experienced the different densities of water.
Yeah.
So yeah,
One of them felt
totally.
a lot like heavier, didn't it, or harder? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's hard to
Well,
move in.
yes, yes. It was like it was more like moving through soup than
It really
moving
was.
through water.
I thought it was me. I thought I was starting to lose my marbles. I had to ask you, like,
No, save it for
it's
me.
supposed to be like this.
Did we just get into a swamp or something? Where did you take me?
What is this? Yeah, but that's what I
Yes.
thought of when he was explaining that. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, that connects in my neurons.
Yes. Well, and I'd actually forgotten about that, but yeah, now to bring it up, I remember that it was very,
Yeah.
very different because then especially when you go from the soup spring into the regular one, you're like, oh, geez, look how easy I'm moving this.
I'm limber.
Lucky I stretched this morning. Woo, look at me go.
Michael Phelps over here.
So,
Yeah.
old matey Potato, this very smart man,
Mhm.
looked at all the occurrences of disappearances, and the planes was an interesting one when he talked about
Mhm.
the planes disappearing. And he did a lot of research, and he was looking at weather and all kinds of different things. And he used a case of a small plane pilot who was flying from, I believe, Bermuda, or yeah, Bermuda, I want to say, to Florida. And so the pilot basically enters a storm. He didn't have any choice. Now, this is one thing I want to just touch on quickly is these storms are massive. You're talking
Mhm.
30 miles wide, this guy was saying,
Mhm.
like 30 miles wide for a storm, and up to like 70,000 feet in like high. Like that's ridiculously big.
Yeah, you're
So,
not getting away from
so
it.
you can't get away from it. You can't get around it. And if you try and fly under it, the downdrafts and updrafts will basically throw the plane into the sea. So
Mhm.
the pilot in this case had to fly through it. So he was flying through it, and he had this experience, which a lot do, but he had this experience where all of his instruments just basically stopped working. Everything was all haywire. And he said he really couldn't tell what was up or down or what was going on, where he was or anything like that. And he was getting sort of worried about it. And then he noticed there was this tunnel and up ahead, and
Mhm.
it was a circular tunnel, and on the other side was blue sky because it was all very dark,
Yes.
like thunderstorm. Now he saw blue sky on the other side, and he thought, well, geez, I'm going to go for that. So
Mhm.
he aimed his plane at that, and very, very interestingly, as he entered this tunnel, now he also mentioned, I don't know if it was in the video that we watched, but I think I saw it in another one where he said the tunnel was actually closing as well. So the tunnel wasn't just open forever, it was actually closing. So he was trying to get through it. And as he entered it, he felt weightlessness, and he felt
Yes.
almost like a gliding sensation as he went through it. And
Hydroplaning is what he said.
hydroplaning, yeah. So as if the plane
Yeah.
was sort of like being pushed along almost. And so
Yeah.
when he got to the other side, he was like, okay, great, I made it out. And he called air traffic control and said, I'm near Bermuda. I've just left, and I should be about here near Bermuda.
Mhm.
Well, in a matter of minutes, he was actually already over the coast of Florida because air traffic
Yep.
control said, we don't have any planes on our radar near Bermuda. And they're like, we've got one near Florida.
Yeah. Is that you?
That you?
Yeah. And actually, what they said, it wasn't minutes. I think they said it was like seconds. Like it just,
Right, that's right.
it was almost like that hole. And it's almost, it creeped me out when he was saying that. He's like, he saw blue sky and he's like, I need to go there. I'm like, it feels like a trap
Right.
and it's closing in. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
it looks so nice and pretty, and it looks like blue skies and ponies and rainbows on the other side. And well, shit, if you don't could end up somewhere else other than your destination. And that's exactly what happened.
Right.
And he didn't feel a thing. Like he
Nope.
actually he didn't feel, like one would think like you would kind of, I would just think your insides would turn to soup
Yep.
because you move so fast. Like we're not meant to move that fast,
Yeah.
but he did.
Well,
It
that's
actually happened.
yeah, and that's the other interesting thing about his story and story of others is that he observed like a grey ionization cloud covering his
Yes.
aircraft. So
Yep.
almost like a protective bubble around the aircraft. And so that formed as he went through this tunnel, and then on the other side, it disappeared. And so it's almost as if, like you said, you would think his insides would be mush, but this protective bubble came around and let him go through. He went through. And so the other interesting thing was, so just to give people some context here, where he went into this tunnel and where he came out, the calculation of the speed he would have been traveling was something like 300,000 miles an hour, something like that, to get to where he was in the time that he got there. So, yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Now, more interesting is that this scientist is actually trying to replicate that in a lab. And they have replicated it on a small scale, but they're trying to replicate this kind of mode of travel, I guess you would call it. So, and I think one of the analogies that he used was essentially it's a compression of space. So if you imagine, in this case, Florida and Bermuda being this far apart, I don't know if people can see this far apart, and then through this tunnel, space itself gets compressed. So now the distance to be traveled is nothing, basically.
Right.
So they're trying to recreate that. But this is a natural occurrence, right? This is a natural occurrence. And we talked about, and we got people to pin the fact that the energy in these storms is enough to power the US for a year. So within the storm,
and then some.
Yeah, right. And so within the storm, the way that he explained it is essentially you have multiple storms inside the storm, and you've got positive and negative polarization on both, in both storms or in multiple storms. And when you've got, I think he called it a triple polarization, so you've got two positive, two negative on both sides, and they come together to form the triple. So the interaction between the polarization of the different storms is what creates this compression of space-time and allows people to just, like in this case, straight through. So what he was basically saying was as well that so their plan is to recreate this on a larger scale to be able to create a mode of travel. So essentially you'd be able to go from New York to LA in about 1 second. Is what
it was saying. Really quick.
Yeah.
It was really quick. I'm like, well, sign me up.
And it's funny because
make it happen in the next 2 months. We make that happen. Let's do this.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's make it happen. It's not just the triangle, because he said in World War II there was a guy, oh God, I wrote down his name and now my book's over there. Anyway, in World War II there was a pilot who he started in New York, went through one of these storms, and ended up at the north end of England. North England, not even like the bottom where it would,
right, yeah,
all the way to the top in seconds. In seconds. Yeah. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
And they don't feel a thing. They don't notice a thing. All they know is that something isn't right. And their equipment has just run amok. That's all they know. Yeah.
It's so interesting that, I just find it very cool in a sense that, like, you got people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and, all of these people and NASA and everybody trying to come up with all of these fancy things and technology, and nature just goes, well, there it is.
Yeah, nature says, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. We did it.
It's so true. It's so true. We cannot replicate what weather like Mother Nature can do.
Yeah.
The
And I
universe
guess
just does it.
right, and I guess like you said before, if we could, then we would have all this technology. We would have travel in seconds. We would have all of this stuff.
Now, here's my question. Do we actually have it? And they won't let us have it because it would mean it would mean so much. I don't know, like you can't even fathom how it would change the world, how we interact with each other. We wouldn't need like if I can get to you in the matter of I don't know 2 minutes, I no longer need the airline.
Right.
I no longer need things like that. I can just say I'm going to see you and I'll be there in 2 seconds and there I am instead of 2 days.
Yeah.
It would interrupt so much infrastructure because we wouldn't need it anymore. We wouldn't need trains.
Yeah.
Like it would like it would ruin everything. So I just wonder if they're, much like Tesla energy, is it buried in a vault under the plates of the continent so no one can get at it?
Yeah. Well, this is it, and I think you bring up such a good point, and I'm 100% with you because yes, I think that when we say they, of course, we mean like government powers that be, they they the they out there do have all this bloody technology, but the thing is they realize that if they make it freely available to us, then they can't make any money off us. So they keep it to themselves and they probably use it themselves, but for us wee folk, we don't get to have it.
That is actually a really good question. I wonder if there are actually pictures kicking around of people in two different locations, like of higher power, of government power. So say Justin Trudeau, him and his hair are in Jamaica.
They're two different people.
He's in Jamaica. And then on the same day, he's pictured in Alaska.
Ooh,
like I wonder if we could find something like that and like kind of put the puzzle pieces together to prove that these fuckers actually have this technology and they're not sharing it, because it would ruin everything. It would ruin the infrastructure. We wouldn't need to spend thousands of dollars to go on vacation because I'm going to walk there. Right. Just going to go on. I'm going to go in my, however this guy decides to put it together, get in my little pod, and I'm going to jump over, and that's it. Yeah. Maybe it cost me the initial whatever to buy the pod.
Well, yeah, but like
now it's mine.
Cars would be gone. No need for cars anymore.
No. It would ruin a lot of things.
It would ruin a lot of things and stuff. I mean, just the oil companies alone. I mean, think about all of that. I mean, the amount of money that fuel companies and oil companies make is unfathomable, really. I mean, I did some rough calculations just on where I live, just in this one city. It was something like in the 100 million range for a single day. So that's one city in one country. And you think about all of the cars out there. Right, we've only got like 4 million people in this city.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Nope. So think about that worldwide. It's like, it's a phenomenal amount of money. So would anyone, these people who are making the money really want to give that up? No. So
it's a shame. It really is a shame because, we talk about all this advancement and we look at Back to the Future and we think how amazing it would be to have all those things, including Biff's book,
the almanac,
his winning almanac. And we'll never get there because it would interfere with the money-making process for
Yeah. For they they wouldn't let it happen.
That's right.
So, well, but it'd be interesting. I hope this guy is able to create the technology. But the other thing that's bloody annoying and interesting, all in the same breath, about this guy and what the technology he's trying to create is, we watched it on a Gaia video that we specifically searched about Bermuda.
Yeah.
Why isn't anyone else talking about this? Like, where is this in the mainstream media? I mean, they're too busy talking about the Kardashians' bots to talk about something actually meaningful.
Thank you.
So,
thank you. I'm gonna link the Gaia.
Yes.
So you can get a 7 free.
Yeah.
7 days free.
Very interesting video. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, and not a lot, like because I searched it, and so I put it in my to watch later file, and then you messaged me, you're like, post it, work bubbles. I'm like, screw you, don't tell me I haven't watched it yet. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay, so now that we went on that rant about them and they and
everybody.
Everyone who wants to put a pin in us. So let's get into just a few of the things that have happened, because there is this list, and it's actually I've actually researched other things that happened around these things. So what do you want to start with?
Why don't you pick the first one, and then I'll pick the next one, and then we can just...
Okay. So the most famous one is Flight 19. That's the most famous one. So I'll read you what it says. So it says the most famous disappearance in the Bermuda Triangle is Flight 19. In 1945, 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers went out on routine training mission. They vanished. The 13-man rescue aircraft, Mariner aircraft, also disappeared without a trace. Over the years, it has been rumored that the captain of the routine training mission had personal problems, and the other pilots, being inexperienced, were contributing factors. However, that doesn't explain the disappearance of the rescue aircraft. Aha, okay. So what happened was, this was a training mission. So the guy, they didn't name him. I think his last name was Carroll. Anyway. I forget his name. So he was like the coach. So he was out there to go watch, to go make sure that these trainees were, doing what they were supposed to do. So this one guy, he's like, okay, I'll be the lead in command. So he was in control. His stuff, like, all of a sudden he didn't know where he was, and all of his stuff started to go, walkabout. He didn't know what to do. So there was all this chatter back and forth. Like, you can actually look up the chatter over the radio of what was actually going on. So there wasn't, and like, I don't think there was any proof of any mental health issues or personal issues. There was a storm that day. What they also said was that where this trainee lead pilot was thought he wasn't, because he was used to flying over the Keys of Florida, not over on the other side where he was going into Bermuda. So he couldn't identify what he was flying over. So it kind of disoriented him. And because they were all going in as a team, you go as a team, you go out as a team. And he kept saying that. So like, the coach, this guy they're saying his personal problems, said, as soon as someone gets to like 10 gallons or less of fuel, we gotta land. Like, whether it's on water or on land, we're landing, but we go together. Like, no man left behind. We all go together. And so what happened was, this lead guy made a wrong turn, and he thought he was going towards land, and he was actually going towards open water, because he was so disoriented, and because the storm was rolling in. And so this Mariner aircraft that went to go rescue them, because they were seen 200 miles out or whatever, like they spotted them, they knew where they were. So they're like, okay, we'll send this Mariner aircraft out, just to like lead them on their way home. Well, it didn't get there, because apparently it had engine problems the day before, and there were reports of an explosion in the sky. And when they went to go check it out, there was oil in the water, there was debris, but there was there was really nothing left of anything. So
Okay.
they think it was just an engine issue. So it was just really a cascading amount of failures. It was just cascading failures all over the place.
Right.
And who knows what really happened, but these guys have never been seen again, ever. Like just gone.
No wreckage, no nothing.
Nothing.
Just gone.
Nothing. They did start to say, like, they are starting to admit that, okay, like maybe like this wreckage over here that they found, this debris could have been from that, but they're like, how do you take a little piece of something? Like, how do I take a little piece of something and say, aha, this is from,
Right. Yeah.
this flight at this time, and
Yeah.
you just
This is
can't.
this is Bob's plane. I know
Yeah.
that. I know that plane anywhere. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the backstory of that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting indeed. I I just had a question. Well, a
Yeah.
thought, I guess. So with the warp bubbles and stuff we talked about before, and the tunnel and everything, and these guys were never found. And there's a lot of cases with Bermuda Triangle and stuff where people and things and stuff are never found. So what if something else happened with these tunnels, and like you said, they ended up somewhere entirely different, like not just a couple of 100 miles or 500 miles in the direction they were headed, but somewhere entirely different.
Oh.
What if they ended up?
Oh, like, no, I was thinking Fiji. You're thinking
Oh no,
Jupiter.
I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking like Saturn or
It's possible.
a parallel Earth even.
Yeah, it's very possible. Because I'm thinking, like, at that time, what if they did land in the tropics and sort of like, this is aces.
Yeah. Look
Like,
where we
this is
landed. Ooh,
fantastic.
banana lounge, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, but it could be. It could absolutely be, because I forget what episode we were doing, but we did an episode and we both said, "Oh my God, I wonder if that's what the Bermuda Triangle is." Oh, wormholes,
Right.
actual wormholes, if that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
because those will take you to places, and the wormhole, the door will move on you. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know what you're doing, you're stuck, you're gone. And they're saying that's why people can literally, when we say people just don't disappear, yes, they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, they do.
Well, and touching on that, like just briefly, yeah, when we talked about that, that was about, as an example, a child at a park, like a national park, like a national park going missing, but not wandering off and going somewhere from right beside a parent.
Yeah.
Like parents fishing, yep, cool, I'm gonna get a big one, and then they turn around and the kid is literally gone.
Gone.
In the space of looking forwards, looking back, kid's gone.
Yeah.
So, very, very curious indeed.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
Yeah,
something
very
similar
cool.
to that.
Maybe.
From one plane one to another one. So that was a Navy squadron of aircraft, and that was in 1945. So quite some time ago. But I want to talk about this one. This is one I wanted to chat about, which is a private plane from 2017. So that's only 5 years ago. This isn't centuries ago. It's very, very recent. Okay, so this is what it says. Another Bermuda plane incident happened in May 2017 when Skylight Group founder and CEO Jennifer Blumen, her 3- and 4-year-old sons, and boyfriend pilot Nathan vanished. The plane was at 24,000 feet when it disappeared from radar, and Miami traffic controllers lost radio contact. Blumen was traveling with her children from Puerto Rico to Titusville, maybe, Florida.
Sounds good.
In her private plane, piloted by her boyfriend. They were flying just east of Eleuthera, a Bahama archipelago island, when they vanished. The following day, the US Coast Guard discovered a debris field of the missing plane 15 miles east of the Eleuthera. No one on board was ever found and no cause of the crash determined. So,
where did the people go?
Right. Now, did the plane disappear after the people disappeared out of the plane?
God, that's a great question, because if there's no reason why that plane, wait a minute, was it it was a private plane. So it just, yeah, because one wrong move of the steering wheel and you're done.
Right.
So if the people are no longer there to steer the thing, it's going to crash. I wonder what happened.
Because the other reason I find this one interesting too is because there's been stories of ships, okay, not sinking, but being found like ghost ships, as in like
Yes.
coasting along with nobody on board.
Yeah. What happens to
So
all those people?
they went in with people and came out with no people. So
Yeah.
maybe this is an airplane version of that, as in the plane went in, people disappeared somewhere, and then the plane crashed.
Yeah. It definitely sounds like it. Now, this gentleman, this scientist, this physicist, this brilliant man, I gave him so much respect, not only because he's a smarty pants, but because George said, evil entities. He went
Of course.
There. Of course he did. But he said he's leaving the door open for aliens, UFOs, ETs, whatever it may be. He's the unexplained. He's opening the door. He's like, because some things you just can't explain. Like I'm open to that. And I was like, well, good for you, man. Like for a scientist to say I'm opening the
Yes.
door to this potential thing, sold me on this guy. And I don't know if he says that just to get that street cred. I don't know. But it could be like, what if they're coming along picking people? Or because you would think that if it was something like a vortex or a wormhole or something, it's going to take the entire thing.
Right. Yeah.
And when people, like, for people to go missing, the Carol, what was it? The Carol, hold on. It was ages ago. I can't find it. Anyway, it was the Carol ship. What happened was this ship, it was seen by the lighthouse guy, and the lighthouse guy said that this ship told him they lost both their anchors, yet they kept going. 2 days later, and then it was so close to their destination, so he took a picture of it going by, but it never made it to the destination. They found it like ages out, like forever gone, like stuck. Lifeboats are gone, all the stuff is gone, like all the people and their belongings. All the lifeboats are gone, and the two anchors are gone, and the steering wheel was smashed to shit. The pirates, that's the first thing that thought to me. I'm like, well, Johnny got him, right? Johnny
literally Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what they think. They think when it's a ship happening like that, then it's piracy. Piracy is involved.
Okay.
Something like that. And they were taken as hostages, and who knows what happened to them after that. Right. But planes, you can't just disappear from a plane.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen too many plane pirates kicking around. You can't just disappear like that. And you're right. No. Like, it's good that old mate left that bit of a window open for the unexplained, because I mean, this is the thing. Like, the Mother Nature, as we said before, created this event and this amount of energy and these occurrences. That's a natural occurring event. So, but we didn't know that before. This guy did a lot of work to try and figure that out, to actually kind of explain it. And we didn't know that before. And so what else don't we know? Like, there's so many things out there, and we're so arrogant these days. Like, we think we're just such the greatest society that ever lived, and we're so intelligent, and we know everything there is to know about the world. No, we don't. Like, we don't know anything. And we need to have the realization that even though we think we're smarty pants, how could we know? Because if there's a plethora of things out there that we are unaware of, how would we know about it? Because we're unaware of it. So,
well, we're so smart that we know Kim Kardashian's dating experience.
Oh, you know what? You're right. We're so
smart we are.
We are so smart.
I put myself in the category. Like, I don't want anyone coming at me with hate, because I'm putting myself in that category too. Why the hell do I know that? because we are not fed the things that could actually nurture us, to actually give us nutrients that we need to grow and do better and be better. Now we're fed that means nothing. It doesn't impact, it doesn't input, it doesn't it, to help my life in any way, but yet I still know it.
Right, because that's what gets peddled in the media, isn't it?
Exactly. Even not wanting to, we know it.
Exactly. That's the key point. Like I don't necessarily want to know it, but I have to because there it is. It's getting put in my face all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like some people have used, and physicists have used this example before of, if you imagine the world of an ant, right? What's the ant's understanding of humans? What does an ant comprehend about the world of humans? Probably not that much,
No, we're just big.
There's a big boot. Got to watch out. But then if you think of us as the ant,
right,
then what else is out there that we don't understand and we can't comprehend because we have no comprehension of it because we can't see it, feel it, touch it, all of those things.
And it's so big.
Exactly.
It's so big.
Yeah.
We can't even see it. Absolutely.
And I'm just one more time going to go back to people go, yeah, but if you can't see it, it's not real. Yeah, all right. Well, next time you check into a hotel and ask where's the Wi-Fi, just think about that for a second. You can't see Wi-Fi, can you? Unless you look on your phone, it's got those little bars. So yeah, when people want to say to me, oh yeah, but you can't see it. Well,
I can't see the wind either, but I'm very aware that it's real.
Yeah.
Can't see it.
Exactly.
You can't see I can't see the air, but it's keeping us alive.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see it. So, yeah, I think it's an easy cop out for people to say, well, I need to see it to believe it. Well, I don't. And that's fine. That's fine. They can say all they want, but I won't change my mind.
Right.
I'll believe in things I don't see all day long. That's fine.
Yeah.
As long as I believe that it's true, or until I decide otherwise.
Well, there's it's funny because you just got me thinking. You can see, right, and touch and feel, the five senses or whatever we talk about.
Yeah.
But if you feel something with the sixth sense, as in like you just intuitively feel it's true or it exists, then yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy to trust that sense as well. And I don't know why, I can't explain it, but I 100% believe that it's real.
Do you think we should stop telling ourselves, like, I don't know why? Because we do know why. My sixth sense is telling me. Like, we would never go around and say, well, I smell strawberries, but I don't know why. Well, it's because I'm smelling a strawberry. Like, I literally have a strawberry up my nose and I'm inhaling. Like, we need to make it as natural as that. Like, we ask people all the time, what do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you do? Well, what's this telling you?
Yeah.
What's going on here? We need to stop building that out of each other. Like,
and second guessing it all the time.
Yeah. You do know why. You know exactly why.
Yeah. Well, and that's and that's another reason why people are, I feel, not authentic with themselves. Not necessarily with other people, but just with themselves. Like, in any situation, in any second, in any interaction, you know how you feel about it straight away. But we have this process, I feel, where you go and you get into your head and you go, oh, someone just said this or did this. I don't know what I should say. Should I say this? Because if I say this, then that might go down that road and then this and that and the other thing, and end up saying something that's inauthentic to what you actually feel.
Right.
And it's just...
Instead of just saying, I agree with you, or...
Yeah. Or depending on what they've said, maybe.
Exactly. It's a full and complete sentence.
Yeah, I heard it.
It's a vibration heard around the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. We it's another topic for another day because we're at the end and we gotta go.
Yes.
But we're so afraid of insulting people, and we're so afraid of being kicked out of the tribe, and we're so afraid to speak up for what we actually believe, that we will actually sit back, take it all in, and calculate how I will not, if what I need to do to not be kicked out of this society.
Right. And you know what? Great point, because bringing it onto our topic today as well, we could have this conversation with somebody else about Bermuda Triangle, about these theories. And they'd be like, check out this nut job. Like,
right. Yeah. They both need a hospital ASAP.
Can you make it the same hospital, please?
And we need Wi-Fi.
Where's the Wi-Fi in this place? And so, but we could get kicked out of the, tribe for having this conversation with people.
Absolutely.
But we've got to try, and it's not. I'm not saying it's easy, but we have to get to the point, I feel, where we can say what we truly feel and believe, and not care about what the other people do, what they, kicking us out of the tribe. Mm-hmm. Because it feels so much better to just be authentic with yourself. It doesn't matter what happens with the other people. If people want to say, oh, well, I'm never talking to you again. Okay, good. I don't need to be talking to you then.
Right.
It's fine.
I won't worry about you anymore.
Yeah. Bye.
That's simple. I send you love, but I'm not going to worry about you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, geez, whenever we start talking, it's time just disappears. Did we just go through a warp bubble
for this podcast? I think we did. Unfortunately, it only took us through the clock. It didn't take us, geographically closer.
Right. It didn't take us closer together. Damn it.
One day.
One day. Yes. But thank you for the discussion. Awesome as always. And I hope people enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments or on the old social media, if you got Wi-Fi, that is. But
if you can see it.
If you can see it. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Nah, I just wish everyone a great day and a great week. And thank you.
Nice.
Great.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.